Going into this piece, I didn't have a whole lot of ideas, or rather, I had two. One pulled from a doodle I did on a recent road trip with family, the other from looking at two little figurines on my desk. When I say little, I mean about like an inch tall, maybe? I was originally got the idea to do an inverse color piece from the Drawfee channel. I had actually started one using Procreate, but I was doing that by just having the whole screen invert the colors, so it wasn't really the same kind of challenge. I pull from the same general area for colors all the time, so it was more of a memory game than anything. So with this time round, I decided to use my brain cells and Google how to invert the colors in Clip Studio. Turns out it's just going into the edit menu and then clicking tonal correction, reverse gradient, or just like Control I think. So, Anyway, to be honest, a lot of this piece is inspired by Drawfee. Some of the shapes and ways I approached the cavern were pulled from how Julia's done them over the years. The general freeness in how they sketch out something or just block. Overall, it's just been a great way for me to explore with characters and landscapes and everything. I know a lot of it's not just Drawfee, there's a lot from like Bob Ross and stuff, but for this specific piece there was a lot more coming from Drawfee. Also, my friend Angelica over at AACL Angel, I think pretty much on every platform, she challenged me to do this again. As I'm sure you've seen now, I used the color wheel with the triangle on the side and tried to use that to kind of cheat a little bit, so that way it was just like, if I want this color, you just go to the opposite side. So I just looked at what maybe I normally would have pulled and went a bit opposite of that, knowing that saturation and light and dark and all of that was really going to have to play a part into that. I typically go for like fall colors and maroons. Sometimes I'll pull a teal because those kinds of blues are something I really like. I also really like emerald green, like dark greens. But I figured all of those colors that I usually like to use would work really well as like a cavern. So I just pulled from the opposite of those and I got like these greenish yellows, which are really scary to work with. Like really scary, because I couldn't really see what I was doing and it just looked really gross and like mucusy. But then I remembered something that quite a few artists have actually mentioned over the years, that it's gonna look awful at first, but then it's gonna look a lot better as you keep going. It's gonna have an ugly stage. So I kept going, and once I started like really working with the colors even more on like the stalagmites and stalactites or whatever they're called, that's when it started to look better to me, so I kept going. So yeah, once I finished lighting and shading those, I thought to myself, okay, now that we have a general idea of where the light source is, how are we going to incorporate the little guys on my desk? So I kind of positioned them in a general idea of what I thought might work. I vaguely use them as an idea because one's a Minecraft skeleton and the other one is Finn from Star Wars, and they're an inch tall. I also thought I can make my life really easy by not having to deal with like the shadows on the face and stuff, so I positioned them away from the camera. But then I have to deal with like foreshortening and stuff in different ways than I'm usually messing with foreshortening, so then everything just kind of looks like a blob to me. But I guess that's just kind of how humanoids are, blobs with sticks attached. Just really detailed sticks attached. Anyway, I was originally just gonna like outline them, and then I ended up just blocking them in like I mentioned before. I just started blocking in everything and then adding the lights and shadows, keeping in mind that the lighter color I use is actually going to be the darker area, and so kind of having to invert everything prematurely in my head of how things are going to have to go. And that was really wonky to think about, but it also made it even easier to like keep in mind the three-dimensionalness of these two-dimensional images. I like it. The flame kind of gave me some issues, because that's when I started to realize, maybe I shouldn't have kept going from so many different sections to draw this, since, the lighting is all supposed to come from the same place, and I pulled the lighting color from 3 different positions. But live and let live, So then I realized that I have like this deep cave thing that I've got going on. I want something in there, but I didn't want to have like a whole other character drawn. So I thought, what would be dark and mysterious to have in a cave? Just some eyes like shining back at you. And I realized that was going to be the thing I pulled from my little doodle that I made. So yeah. Would I do this challenge again? Yes. I think it works wonders on helping with like understanding your colors and whatnot. Do I like what I made today? In concept, yes. I would definitely go back and maybe change it up a little bit. I actually already thinking about what other challenges can I do to redo this same image, and just what does it look like if I come at it from a completely different angle. So yeah,